Hello friends, so today we are going to look into the asset workspace. This is the latest asset workspace, and we are going to look into this particular component which is called collapsible container on the hardware asset workspace. So if you see, if I click it, it expand, and then if I click again, it collapse. And inside this we have some tiles, and these tiles are also scrollable, so looks like some carousel here. And in these tiles we have certain data, and then there is a button. So basically we have to uh, replicate the same design, and basically we have to create a custom workspace where we have to build the same component, and we can simplify it as per our need. And we have to use our uh, available out of the box components to build this particular user interface. So let's begin. So basically we have to investigate this particular component and see how this component is created, uh, how this uh, behavior is created, and then we have to replicate the same. So let's see. Okay, so we are going to look into the backend of this component. So what we have to do, we have to open the UI builder. So I'll tell you exactly how to open. So you go here and you search for UI builder, and in the UI builder you will scroll down and you will see asset workspace. Now in the asset workspace, let's go to the home page, because if you notice, this is the home page. So we go to the home page. Now on the home page you will see that this is the component that we are looking for, and basically if you click, we don't have much details here. It's some sort of sub page which is rendered here. And if you notice on the left, we have important actions container. So this is the container, and inside this we have this home important actions viewport. So basically this is the sub pages, and this is the viewport. So they are using the viewport, and inside this viewport, this is the particular sub page. So in order to open that, first of all we have to look into the right application scope. So let me choose the right application scope, that is asset management workspace, and I apply. So now I'm in the right workspace, right scope basically, and now I'm going to open this particular sub page. So this is the sub page which is used for the viewport, and let's see how this sub page looks like. So this is the entire component that is built as a sub page. And in order to understand better, let me try to collapse them. So this is the collapsible bar basically, which is here, this collapsible bar which is expanding and collapsing. And let me try to do a little bit of closure. Okay, so you can see on the major part we have collapsible bar which is expanding and collapsing. Inside that they have a container, and then inside the container they have these components. So we have a top heading container, then we have important actions container, then there is a no card container, and then there is a loading container. So loading container is, I think, it's simple, it's just like the loading icon. It will come in the beginning when there is a loading is happening, and I think it has a loading image and it's quite simple. The no card container is something which will display if there is no data. So if you see there is an image, uh, it's like a no data image kind of thing. And if you look into the heading, it has no record suggested right now, and here it says like nice work tackling this, no one can appear. So basically when there is no data, this will be showing, and as you can see, this particular container is also hidden. So you can see in the config, there is a hide component thing, and if the length is 0, or there is no important actions loaded, basically they are returning true. So somehow they are hiding basically, and you can see by default this is hidden, no card container. And then there is a important action container and the heading container. So before jumping to important action container, let's try to understand the heading container and the next refresh text. So heading container, if you look into, this is the heading container, this is the heading container, for example this and this. Now how do you see that? We have here something called important actions. So you will see here important actions here, and then number, and this refresh button. So important action, and then there is a paragraph which is something like this. Here they have done some data binding. uh, Actually it's this number, basically this number is coming from this, and they did some data binding with this. And then there is a refresh button. So this is the refresh icon. Basically this refresh button is also having some event. So this is the set load and refresh client script which is associated with this. And then there is a next refresh text. This next refresh text is here, I guess. And this is also, they have done some status text kind of data binding. So this is the heading container, then there is a important action. So this is the main part where we have these tiles. So let's look into these tiles and see. So there is a carousel. So this carousel is basically something which is handling this scroll part, as you can see from left to right. So inside this carousel there is a repeated card. Repeated card is like a repeater which is having some data. So all of these tiles, they are having data repeated basically. And then inside the repeated cards, there is a card based container. So this is basically the base container, and here we have few card base header 1, header 2, and then metadata container, and then the card button container. So card base header 1 is basically the if you see, card base header 1 is having some highlighted header tagline that is did some binding here. Similarly for header 2, there is a value description. So header 1 is this, header 1 is this. Let me see. So we have 4 components here: header 1, header 2, metadata and card base. So if you see 1 2 3 4, so we have 4 3 2 1. So header might be this, if I'm not wrong. uh, yeah, this is the highlighted header. So this top one would be the header 1, and then in the header 2 they have heading, value title, and caption, value description. So title and description, which is here, title and description. This is header 2. Then they have this metadata container, and in metadata container basically they have the stock room count and the 9. So in the metadata they have two things. One is label value 1, which is also attached with metadata value 1, and then metadata value 2 here. So this is the third container, and then there is a fourth one, which is the button. So if you see, this is the button. They have a button label, and this is the button view record. And if you see, this button has an event associated, which is open record. So basically if you click this button, it opens this record in this tab. So there is a script for that. So this is the basic design for this component, and we will try to replicate the same design while building this entire sub page custom for our own workspace. So let's start designing. So I go to my app. This is my automated asset management, and I'll go to my experience. Here I have this workspace. So I'm going to edit this workspace. Now this workspace is pretty basic, and I'm going to add the functionality here. So if I preview the workspace, you'll notice that currently it looks like this, and I want to build the feature here somewhere so that it it seems to be here. So I'll add it maybe here below this, above happening now. Now there are two ways. One is to use the viewport just like how they have used, and for that I have to create the sub pages, and I think that is a better way. So what I have to do, let's try to edit this. So I'm going to edit this in UI builder. Now you'll notice that it has so many pages. So there are two ways. Either I use a sub page, or I can directly build here. So maybe in order to keep it simple, I can build it here, and we will not have to use this viewport anymore. So let me add a component before this. Okay, so what component I have to add? So if I go there and see, basically we have a collapsible bar. So that collapsible bar is something which is the main component. So I go here and I search for collapsible bar. So this is the collapse basically. Now it is inside the dashboard, it's outside the dashboard, so doesn't look good on this basically, because it will come on top. So I can try to move it below this so that it will come somewhere here. Basically I'm doing this for the POC purposes, so position doesn't matter. Basically we have to make it work. So the collapse is here and we call it collapsible container. Or let's not give it a name, we just have to, we are doing it as a POC, so let's move it, make it fast. So we have a collapsible container, and inside that we have, okay, we have collapsible bar, and then we have to create a container, and this container is basically a full container where there is nothing. So inside this, let's create a container. So should come, let's search for container. So we have many type of containers, so I think it's a basic container. Mm, they just call it collapsible container, but there should not be any collapsible container, I think. So there are two containers, let's try to take it this one. Why there's information icon, simple container component, okay. And then here there is another container. No, yeah, this is same thing. So let's take this. So we have a collapse, then we have a container. Inside this we have another container, which is the heading container, and then there is a important action container. So let's add two more containers. Let's give it a name so that we don't get confused. So I'm not able to edit this. Let me delete and re-add. Before that, let's give it a name. So we call it collapse bar, and let's try to copy the name from here so that we have a similar architecture. Okay, and then we add a container. Just we are not going to give it a name, but we'll give it later. So let's add two more containers. So is it a card based container or it's like a, so let's try with card based container and see. Hmm, I think there is no card based container here. They have just used containers everywhere. So collapse container, heading container, and important action container. So we add this and this. Add after, we add another container. Okay, so we have now the high level design architecture ready. Let's try to get into this heading container and try to add some headings. Okay, and in the heading, let's give it a name called label called important actions. Okay, so we are configuring manually and then we give it a label important actions, and then we add this. So let's try to replicate this design. That's called 19. So we give it it's a duplicate, and here I will just label it like 19, and then there is a refresh button. So basically this is a button, so I'll add after and I'll say button. And I'll configure component manually. This button I'll say, so basically they have an icon here, this refresh icon. So for the name, So let's try to configure the same way. Label, we don't have anything. It's icon sync outline. Okay, it's a button icon. It's not a button. Basically, it's a icon button. So let me delete it and add after and icon, button icon basically. And I'll, so the icon is called sync outline secondary. Sync outline secondary. Okay. Similarly, we create a next refresh text here, and that next refresh text is at the same level of heading container. So basically, after heading container, this we have to add. It's a text basically. So we say add after. We call it text. And it's what kind of text it is. It's like a HTML tag. So it should be rich text kind of. No, but there is no edit HTML here, and it has a normal text. So what kind of component is text you can format using CSS? So let me open the documentation for this to see which component it is. So it's a stylized text. Okay, got it. So not this. To add after, and we call it stylized text. And let's give it this the same thing here which is written, just to have a similar look and feel. The tag which is used, the HTML tag which is used is span. Okay, so we call it span. Let me save it at this point in time so that we don't lose anything. Okay, now in this important actions container we have cursor. Yeah, so this is the important part. So in this container I'm going to add cursor. Yeah, carousel. This is there added, and inside the carousel they have a repeated card. Now I want to see what is the configuration for this. There is so one thing to be noted, like we are not yet did the CSS styling, so we'll do that. first of all we are creating all these components. So inside it we have repeated cards, and repeater repeated card. Okay, let me see which component it is. So this is okay. So inside the cursor, let's try to configure this carousel and see. So we are hiding the title, hiding view to all link, hiding view to all link, hiding the title, navigation interface, multiple content, single centered primary field or default, and then empty state, nothing. Then this is actually repeated cards. So if I'm not wrong, this should be a repeater, I guess. Should be repeater. Yeah. And then there is a card based container. Okay, we have a card based container. So I hope there was no card based container previous, and then we have a card based header 1, header 2. So we'll configure this later. First of all, let's focus on the other part, the button and all. So let's try to, okay, so this card based container, let's try to configure this for a moment. And it's little important because these cards are going to be shown, so we have to make it in the same size, like large, none. Let's try to add two headers. Okay, so here we say header 1 is basically the highlighted header, which is this inventory. But how there is an icon, that I'm not sure. Okay, we'll see later. in here it, the icon is text based. Yeah, it's a heading too, and it has a caption and a heading. So the heading is this. Okay, it has a title and secondary. What is the style of this? It looks like a different kind of component. It's a card based header. Okay, it's not a normal header, it's a card based header. So these both are actually the card based header. Okay, card based header, right. So let me delete this. Okay, so we have a card based header here. Card based header 2. Okay, in the card based header 1, we give it a name, caption, okay, so they have given caption as null, heading as null, and then there is a tagline. So this should be the tagline, I think. So this is the first one, and so it has a tagline and highlighted header. So if you see, we have 4321, 4321. So it should be this inventory. Inventory is the tagline. So basically, we have to know no caption, no heading, and tagline should be inventory, and then there is an icon also. Okay, so this icon is like this icon. Okay, so what they call this icon? Okay, this data will have that icon, but for now let's call it okay, keep it like this icon, fine. Okay, and then there is a header 2. In the header 2, we have title and description, so which is the heading and the caption. So heading is this, so this is the heading, and then there is a caption is this. So there is a heading and there is a caption, and then the next component is this metadata, which is this. So let's skip it for now, we'll add it later if required, and let's add this button. So this is basically the card base container, and then there is a button inside. So we have to add another. So inside this card base container there is another card base container they have added. Okay, so we call it add after card base container, and inside this card base container let's add a button, and this button is, so this button icon is different, so it should be a different kind of button, and it's a button overview and API button with a background color. What kind of button it is? Okay, it's the same button actually. Icon is same, yeah, it's the same button, and we call this button as view records. Let's give this name here. Okay, so as we have seen, we are designing this component, but since it is taking longer, so I'll show you the progress and what has been done. There are some hiccups which I'll also share you. So basically the structure is ready, and if I show you how does it look like, so let me preview this. So if I scroll down you will see the component. Yeah, so here it is. So I have added this this button, small button icon, and if you click it will show and hide basically. So I'll tell you the reason what happened with the collapsible container, and why did I design this. So basically you can see slowly this feature is coming to the shape. You can see the carousel is also coming. Okay, so one challenge, basically if you compare this structure with out of the box asset workspace, they have a collapsible container which is kind of no more available with latest ServiceNow release, which is Washington. It was surprisingly available in the previous release. So let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So if I go to the workspace, asset workspace, so let me open this workspace in a UI builder to show you. So this is the asset workspace, out of the box workspace, and in the home page we were looking into this particular component viewport, and we go to this sub page, and you will see we have the structure ready, and you'll notice they have something called collapsible container. Now this collapsible container, if I go to the documentation, if I open the documentation, you will notice that it shows the page not found, and it is giving me a warning that this content is not applicable to your PDI because it is on the Washington release. And if I go to Washington, you will notice automatically it came to the container overview. But if I go to the previous release, Vancouver, it is the collapsible container is present, which means in the Washington release, they have decommissioned the collapsible container. So because of that, I was not able to use this functionality. I was not able to build this functionality, and so I have figured out a workaround. So the workaround is I have created this iconic button basically, and if you notice, this button is having this icon, carrot up, down fill, and in the events I have written this event called show hide collapsible container. So what happened with this script is, if I show you the script, it's a very basic script where I am checking if the so before that I have created a client set parameter, basically that's called show container, and the default value is false. So what is happening when the state uh, client state parameter show con is false, I am flipping it to true, otherwise I'm flipping to false. So basically this button click will flip the switch, right? So when you click the button, it will, you can see like it is collapsible, it's collapsing for once, and then you click again, it expanding again, right? And rest of the things are, this is basically the so I am still using collapsible bar. In the collapsible bar there is a expanded component visibility. So here I have used this client state parameter, so that when it is becoming true or false, it is actually collapsing and expanding this container, basically this bar. And this entire structure is actually created already with the carousel, and this is static data. I have to still do the data binding. You can see the carousel here, and all of that styling still has to be done. So that is the progress right now. I wanted to share because this video is getting longer, so I wanted to share you the status, and I'll be working on it, and maybe I'll be winding up this video here with the progress that I have made, and maybe I'll create another video where I'll show you more progress on this. And once the data binding is completed with this, I'll show you how this entire functionality is working, and it should be quite similar with out of the box this container. So yeah, it's quite here and long way to go. Yeah, that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you are learning something. And this entire application is actually available. The code is available on my GitHub repository, so I'll provide you the link of my GitHub repository for this application, and you can just download or fork the application, and you can see the code. Okay, thank you so much. See you.